All right, a little bit different than the usual intro. For these next sets of heats, we had a bit of an open mic on the Discord channel where four different commentators basically were all able to share their views on ships and commentate as the matches went on. Hope you enjoy it. All right. So the next round would be the Howling Gull versus the Apocryphon. Let's get that set up. There we are. And actually, I think he's up top. He is. And this is the one with the... We actually found out his AI had the same problem where it wanted to close all the time. It's just, it was masked during its fight with the Shichankan because the Shichankan also wants to close all the time. So they were kind of like turning in at each other, and you couldn't tell that his was his broadside was set up to default values. It was like 400
Oh,
to
I
500.
remember this guy.
Yeah.
One of the more prettier ships of the tournament.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a pretty ship.
And I didn't notice this before, but he has so when the guns fire, steam vents out of the top here, and these
that's cool.
These gears actually kind of spin and rotate when the turret does. So they're supposed to look like they're controlling the actual, what do you call it, attitude of the cannons and the barrels, which I thought is so cool. And then he's got the pass-throughs here for the anchors. Like, I love the lifeboats. It's beautiful. And I somehow managed to miss it has these 10 mortars here because they just look decorative, you know? Like, they just look good. I don't even know what they look like, but they look like they belong, and I didn't see them as guns.
But I thought it was a little weird what he did with the casemates there. I'm assuming those are casemates?
Yes, and they're decoed in. So, like, the casemates are basically going through, like, a fake layer of metal here so that they have a firing angle.
Okay.
And then these are torpedoes, unguided torpedoes, but they also look like, basically like ballast drains and stuff, which I thought was so freaking cool. The way they're kind of just fit in here, like it's...
Like they're meant to be there.
Exactly. It looks just... And this tower.
In the cage mess, oh my god, those things are a pain in the butt.
I know, and it looks so good. Just so much love was put into this. It looks fantastic. I tried to give it a lot of focus in the first feature, and I didn't give it enough. And then I love the mortars on this. I love the, I really like the kind of Onyx watch aesthetic of the turrets too.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of giving me an Onyx Watch vibe.
It does. It kind of it has campaign energy to it. Like even the the command tower and the bridge feel very Onyx Watch to me.
The turrets look a little raw-ass to me.
I can see that.
Yeah.
When you say that the turrets are Onyx Watch, these turrets are based on a previous turret I made,
Really?
which is based on a previous turret, which is based on the Onyx Watch.
I love it. So this is like the third reinterpretation of a design inspired by the Onyx Watch. That's amazing.
Yeah. I don't actually know if they're the same width as the Onyx Watch turret,
It looks
but
close, doesn't it?
the predecessor to these was widened because it had 3 cannons.
Oh, right, and we only had 2 firing pieces for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have the rockets built in and decoed on the side here. Love that.
Ooh.
And they're actually on a turret, so they can control for altitude, and they have a better vantage point because they're off the water line, which is something that the Varangian was struggling with. Its rockets kept ending up in the water, which gave them basically a lagging start, meaning that they wouldn't hit a lot of the time. Totally solved by putting them way up high. I never ran into that problem and didn't even think about that problem in my builds because all my rockets and all my builds sit so high in the water already, right? But yeah, it's a cool design. I love the little casemate back here. It looks like this is one of the most like pre-Dreadnought era things I can think of. Just a little casemate gun sitting on the back of the deck that people would just walk into. Like it's exactly the kind of headspace.
I know this sounds stupid, but that's an anti-aircraft gun.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is a casemate. It is the casemate gun.
Okay.
But its purpose is to shoot aircraft.
That's so. Is it flak?
No.
Oh,
It's
you
a
mean that its
standard
purpose
warhead.
would be to shoot aircraft? Like I think I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I didn't make my craft specifically for the tournament. They were... I built them... Or they're built to have some campaign use.
Okay. All right.
So...
The reactive armor, that's just decoration.
It is real armor, but it is not very effective. It's not designed to be effective.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, ERA right here isn't going to really. It'll stop a single chemical round that hits here, but so will one layer of metal. So, I wasn't going to be too upset about that. And then, I did kind of want to send this one back to you just because of this little bit of clipping here in the back. Because I know that the turret kind of locks up right about here.
It's designed to close.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be closing.
Okay. Interesting.
And I realized that... So, most of my ships, which is what I tested this thing against, have a circling distance of 1 kilometer. And this thing has, I believe, 750 meters. But I don't know what the circling distance of the enemies are.
Right.
So...
I think assuming that 750 meters was going to be smaller than most of the other ships is a pretty safe bet, though. I think most of mine are set up to bounce between, like, 800 and 12. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I like that. That's a good idea. Plus, I mean, yeah, that's all your guns on target since the rear is mortars. All
The
right.
mortars don't do that much anyway.
Yeah, they have to hit first.
Yeah, a lot of the time they don't even fire.
Really?
Yeah, a big reason why this is a secondary submission, because I did build this thing first out of my 2 designs.
Okay.
But
That's...
the reason is that so much volume is wasted on the mortars.
And they don't... Are they just giving you, like, errors instead of firing, or...
No, they sometimes shoot, but normally it's single-digit times per battle.
Weird. I wonder what's going on with that. I know sometimes all kinds of weird stuff can happen with firing restrictions and the like with mortars that keeps them from wanting to fire. It drove me a little bit nuts when I was making mortar craft for a while. Honestly, I've just gotten lucky the last few times I've put mortars on a craft and they just work and I don't have to worry about it. Well, let's see.
Prefabs are an awesome thing. Prefabs are an awesome thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Actually, the mortars are using max muzzle velocity.
Oh, really? Okay, so they're 300 meters a second.
That's
mortars
probably
too.
why they don't want to work.
Yes, that would actually do it.
Because they're in lower orbit?
Yeah, exactly. They're low Earth orbit. Yeah, no, they probably can't find an angle to come down. I like to set mine to around 130, which is actually slower than most people.
It's like my 3rd try using mortars. I don't normally use them.
I think an APS just blew up. I don't think I saw some APS parts coming out of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Looks like some APHE found somewhere it shouldn't have been.
On the forward main gun.
Yeah. Definitely looks like it's been disabled. I'm impressed at Mephistopheles' mortars because they hit the Shichanket while it was diving all over the place. I've got to see what his detection settings were for those, because I might need to steal them. Ooh, near miss. Yeah, without the altitude fuses, you also can't have the added bonus that you can sometimes get mortars to just blow up in proximity. That could be really fun with frag mortars, actually, in the campaign. Oh, something else went up there.
I think they could have.
It looks like both of the main turrets are disabled at this point.
Yeah. I was going to say, though, I think at this time period during the Civil War, they came up with shells that explode in midair, did they not?
Wow, I'm
Because that's when they came up with the term shrapnel.
Yeah. I don't know.
Civil War era is definitely ironclad territory.
Yeah, ironclads were coming about right towards the middle of it and towards the end of it. Some of the most famous ironclads around were Civil War eras. Yeah. I have no idea. And I don't know whether it was a timed fuse for air burst fire or what. I really don't know. It has been way too long since I've even thought of anything like that. Oh, well, that's a mortar hit on the top of a gun, but weathered it just fine. It looks like this came down to, Fish, your APS are really freaking nasty and they're well armored. And they were somewhat less armored on the Apocryphon. How much layer? Oh, it looks like they only have one layer of metal in between the, okay, so it looks like it had wedges, 1, 2, 3. It's like 3 total layers of metal. That's not... Oh. Hello. What happened here? Torpedoes, maybe. Huh.
I do believe I may have seen some.
I mean, I'm going to assume that most of them are still alive. I wonder what the odds of it being able to undermine and sink the Gull are. Yeah, that was a torpedo right there. I have the transparency of the water set. Well, it's more transparent than usual, but it's still... Yeah, there's a torpedo right there. It has definitely been hitting. Huh. Well, look at that.
Anyone want to take a guess when the first time shrapnel's been used in combat?
I'm going to guess... Probably... Are we including, like, grape shot in cannons?
Are we including rockets? Because I would imagine that ancient China had plenty of shrapnel in their rockets.
That's a good point, too. Yeah.
Well, according to Wikipedia, it's 1804.
Okay, so that would be... Yeah, like, musket era.
Proper guns, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about specifically made anti-personnel
Fragments.
shells.
Yeah. Were those... They were loaded into, like, battlefield cannons, or...
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, grape shot was the thing back in the pirate days, right? I mean,
yeah.
It was. Yeah.
But that's more like a shotgun.
Shotgun.
This is something that explodes over its target.
okay.
Right. Yeah, I forget what they used to call those. I think the French used them very frequently, I want to say. I don't know why I'm thinking of that. Oh, we're out of firing arc. So the Apocryphon has a minute and a half to try to sink the Howling Gull or completely even out the health imbalance here. Although I don't know if it's going to be able to do the health since your rockets can still get on target. How many torpedoes are still online? What? Oh my god, they're on spin blocks. They're on turrets. Wow, that's clever.
Yeah.
That's really clever. 1, 2.
That's a
3.
damn fine idea right there.
That is a incredibly good idea. I did not notice that. Holy cow.
I am stealing that for the future.
That's
Yeah,
so
gimbal, man.
smart.
Those are amazing.
That's why they're hitting. I noticed that they were actually making contact with Bargerette too, and I'm like, really? Unguided torpedoes.
Yeah, if you have them mounted to the hull, it's been my experience that they almost never are hit. But if you can put them on a spin block,
Exactly. That's so smart. You know, the restrictions on the length of the medium-sized missiles actually kind of helping with that little bit of innovation too, isn't it? Because they are so small that you don't need much internal space for them to rotate.
mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's it. Looks like that's going to the Howling Gull.